section that we just covered, we have created the Django application and it looks like this. So in this part, we're going to continue. Welcome to part 2 of the series on building the unicorn stack. And we are at this step, part 2. So in this part, we're going to first of all freeze our requirements. So we can go in and run pip freeze and pipe it to requirements.txt. What that does is we can see the dependencies for Django, and we can also have that committed to Git. And we also have the unicorn stack folder, and the folder structure looks like this. So it should have the unicorn stack subfolder also under there, and the manage repo at the base or the root of the unicorn stack folder. So now if you want to create our models, we can go ahead and do that, but before that we can just quickly install Django REST framework. So Django REST framework enables us to have an API, and the steps for installation are on the Django REST framework website, django-restframework.org. So we can just install the dependencies for that, install Django REST framework, and we can install the optional markdown packages. We'll leave that for now. Let's just have the Django REST framework, and we can run pip freeze again to capture the requirements for the dependencies, and we have Django REST framework and the dependencies now, and we can commit that also. So let's do a quick commit. Actually, before we do a commit, let's create a git ignore for the files that are in this generated in the unicorn stack. And so one of the things we need to do is not commit files that are not needed by the project. So one of them would be the .env file. So let's first create a unicorn stack .env file, and we'll have the secrets or the API keys stored in there. So in our git ignore, now if we do git status, we should see that that file is here. So we need a git ignore, and we could put it in the base git ignore, or we could put it inside the unicorn stack folder. So for now, let's create a git ignore in the unicorn stack folder, and we're going to add .env in there. So .env is now added to the git ignore, and git ignore has the .env in git ignore but not the sample.env. So if we commit this now, we should have only the source files that are needed for the project, and we can call it bootstrap project. So let's point it to the correct URL and save that and push it to our repo. So for following along, the repo is here with all the commits that we made. Anyway, so back to our Codelab instructions. We can start app to create a core application inside the Django project. So let's do that. So we're going to say Python manage cd to unicorn stack Python manage.py start app core. Now what that does is it creates a folder called core, and we can see that here. So the core folder has models file and views and admin. So here in the core folder we can create our first model. Since our defi unicorn stack is going to help manage assets in our asset portfolio in our unicorn wallet, we're going to create this asset model. So we can just use that asset model that we've created. Now here inside VS Code we can open a terminal, so it's easier to run commands that way. Make sure that your virtual environment is activated, and if you need to reinstall any requirements, one can do that using pip install -r requirements at any time. So now that we have this model in place, we can create migrations. So Python manage.py make migrations is how we make migrations, and we can also run Python manage.py migrate. So we had these migrations from our start app and start project, which are the default migrations. And if you want to see the migrations, we can see them in this initial migrations, so we can look at that later. Anyway, so back to our project, and we've run migrate, and we can now run Python manage.py create super user. So Python manage.py create super user. This step creates an admin level user, and we can call it admin, and we can call it codelabtutorials@gmail.com. We'll give it a password of admin123. Admin123. Enter. Ooh, so it's saying bypass password validation and create user anyway, and we'll say yes because this is a local super user. And now that the migrations are done, we can go ahead and run Python manage.py run server, and now we can go back to our Django installation and see that everything is still working. So that was the part where we created the model class, and we shall continue in the next part. Thanks for watching.